Talk a little bit, hopefully this is a little better illustration of the primary feather molt. I didn't make this slide, so I didn't put the apostrophe there in primaries, that's supposed to be plural, just want to point that out. So the molt feather is what we're looking for on the data sheet. Once you got the bird banded, you've identified the age and or the sex if it's an adult. But the molt feather is often shorter than the other primaries. You want to be sure and check the top and bottom of both wings. If you have a molt feather that just stands out, you don't have to look at everything, just write it down. But if you're having a little trouble finding it, be sure and check the top and bottom of both. And it just helps to assign age, like Lamar said, when that bird, you know, if it was the first nest attempt or the last one, you're gonna have a different molt feather. But, so looking at that, what would y'all say the molt feather is? P5, that's right. Just a little bit darker, but mostly because it's shorter like that. It's, you know, kind of a subtle difference, but another thing you can look at on this bird, at least, this is an adult bird. These are your older primaries that haven't been molted yet. It's growing this one in. These are still last year's feathers essentially on the wings, so you can tell how ratty and worn they are. Can't look for that on a hatchier bird, but it does stand out on this one. So like I said, determine the age first, and then if it's an after hatch here, if you don't see any of these juvenile feathers with these buffy edges, then you can determine the sex of the bird as well. All hatch here does are recorded as unknown sex. It's something if we get a data sheet and you've got a hatchier bird that you assign the sex to, we'll try to correct that, you know, when we catch it, but we don't always catch it, so just need to try to keep that in mind. If there's any uncertainty, unknown for age and sex. With doves, I mean, we want to have as much accurate information as we can, but getting that band on a mourning dove, as long as you know it's a mourning dove, that's why Lamar said get the band on the bird first. That way if it gets away, or you don't know, can't tell anything else about the age and sex of it, it's still a banded dove that we can get data off of if we get a return on it.
A lot of times that juvenile picture to the left of the arrow is the only ones that'll be buffy tipped still. And if just those 2 or 3 right there, that's still a hatchier bird. Now that was a fairly young one there because all of them are that way. But if they get in that teenage phase, it gets them in betweens. So you'd say that the first feather to look at is those.